It's Wednesday, August 12th, 2021. Picked that up. Freightliner box truck. Put the plate on the belt color. I thought it'd be more of a gas guzzler than it was. I put $100 in the fuel tank and I got her here with some to spare for 256 miles that I had to drive. For the size truck that it is, that's pretty damn good. I just thought I would show you the whole outside of her. Funny where I parked at, because I could have pulled in there and taken up a spot. But a lot of times with these bigger rigs, you gotta find parking on the side street. People that keep coming down this road don't know if I'm turning or not. I'm far enough up from the stop sign. I'm 10 feet something from the stop sign. But nobody knows if I'm going or not. So I've seen a minivan stop and wait, and I saw a car stop and wait. I'm like, they must not be used to having a truck sitting there or something in this neighborhood. I picked this up. Came from Miles City, Montana, over to Janesville, Wisconsin, which is a little bit of a hassle with the Greyhound bus, and then had to catch a Coach USA bus to get down to Janesville from Madison to pick this up, and had to take a taxi and everything else. And it's a 256 mile run, so by the time you end up adding in all the transportation to get to it, then the transportation that I'm going to have to end up doing, which I think I can take a city bus. I'm currently in Kalamazoo, Michigan. That's where I took it to. Currently about ready to deliver. And I think I could take a city bus downtown. And this is where I'm delivering at. It's out by the airport. And if I had an airport to fly to, I'd just fly back. But it's so close to Elkhart that I'm just going to take the bus for $25 for an hour and a half. Bus ride south to Elkhart, Indiana. And anyway, I'll take a city bus, then I'll get the Greyhound and do that. But by the time you count in all the transportation costs to and from this to get it, unless it's already on a route that you're going by, which this one happened to be, this saved me, of course, that 250 miles worth of going through Wisconsin, through Chicago, and to Elkhart to Michigan, and all that anyway. And it's not very far from where I need to go back to Elkhart, which is why my dispatcher set me up with this. And then at the end, they paid 256 miles, paid $280, I think it was, and cost me $100 in fuel. So I still have 50, I think, almost. And then I'm gonna get the escrow taken out and a little bit of the cost for going back to Elkhart and all that. But when you add it all up, it basically paid for its transportation to and from. Almost, pretty much. But other than that, it didn't really pay me to do it. That's why you need to be doing above 300 miles or more. But you have to do these short runs to get a long run. And the short runs pretty much eat up the difference, the profit for the long runs. Unless you can somehow continuously do the long runs, which I have not been able to do. Because every company, all 4 companies that I'm working for, want you to do the short run before you get the long run. And I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot, making it worse by having 4 companies instead of 1 or 2. And finding that out. And then I may not work for Classic anymore. I don't know. I like it. A small little family company, but they don't have a load board that you can see the loads. And then each load that I've seen, each run that I've seen, is about 700 miles or less. So they're all kind of half-ass short runs. And then I can't get their card to work half the time at the smaller gas stations. It charges another $80 hold on the gas stations. It's more annoying than it's worth. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be working with Classic much longer. Quality and Pinnacle are working out pretty good because they have terminals that are not just in Indiana. That's the nice thing. Synergy I really like working for, but they pay the least amount of anybody, but they have the nice cushy RV rides that you can take instead of these box trucks and step vans. And that's nice to have for them, so at least I would work for them each summer. But most likely won't be year-round because of the fact they only have those 3 terminals around Elkhart and Goshen, Indiana, that go out to wherever you're dropping off to from there. And it's a one-way trip back, unless you work for Pinnacle or Quality to get back. or something. So I'm thinking for my winter plans, if I'm going to continue working for this, I'm probably going to work for Quality, Pinnacle, and I might pick up some other kind of Georgia-based driveway company down in Georgia. There's a couple of them. Find something to do in auto driveway work down there, and then stay down in the south for the winter time, you know, and go between Florida and Texas and Arizona and California, that kind of area this winter, so I don't have to deal with the snow. This is pretty interesting though. It's got the air brakes, it's got that's your transmission push button, then your cruise control, your air brakes. You can, well, while the engine's off, you can deflate the whole truck suspension a little bit. Then it's got a lift gate in the back you can control, and dome lights and stuff like that. And it does have the Jake brake to help assist with on the engine brake if you want to, but I kind of think it's in a stupid spot because you got to lean clear over by the time you hit it. At least for me anyway, you got to lean clear over to get to it. It should almost be here more so along the vent dash, would make it way more useful than leaning all the way over to get to it and all the way back. That's just, in my opinion, kind of stupid. The cruise is in that half a decent spot, I guess, but they could have put the cruise on that side and then put the Jake brake there maybe or something. But I'm glad I don't have to drive this truck every day. It's already wired for a CB. It does have the air horn and the regular horn. Started on 20 miles and now it's at 270, I think, or close or something like that, because it started on 20 and I drove 256. Anyway, I'm gonna get this delivered and then I'm gonna head down to Greyhound downtown by city bus, and then I'm going to sit there until 6 o'clock tonight, I guess, because I don't leave once a day at 6. Gets it down to Elkhart, Indiana at like 7:30. Then I think I'm gonna go to Walmart and buy a sleeping pad, like an air sleeping pad type of thing, camping pad, to put in my storage, and then try to get my storage before 10 o'clock when it locks down for the night between 10 and 6. And then just stay in there until 6 o'clock in the morning at least, or it'll be longer than that as I'll be sleeping. But I'll probably just sleep in the storage shed tonight, because most likely I won't get paid for this one until tomorrow, because by the time I deliver this and then send the paperwork in and everything will be noon. If I'm lucky, I'll get paid at 3 o'clock this afternoon, but that has not happened recently with Quality. It's always been the day after for some reason, which is okay. I have enough money on me that I can go rent a storage, buy the mattress for the storage shed, sleeping pad, and that'll work fine because the temperature overnight, especially in Elkhart, is 70 degrees at night. So I just thought I'd give you a video of the latest thing that I've been driving. I just chose to drive this for Quality instead of riding the bus all the way back, because the bus, you know, even still, I went from Miles City all the way to Milwaukee and then back to Madison on the Greyhound, and then Madison to Janesville on the Coach USA. In between the two, my knees started to hurt from sitting there all day. It's 12 hours just to get from Miles City, Montana to the Twin Cities, and then, you know, you add in the overnight 7 hours to Milwaukee, and then the other 4 hours back to Madison. And it was a long bus trip, even without just going to Elkhart and down. I could have just went from Milwaukee down to Chicago and then over to Elkhart on the ticket, but the ticket was more expensive doing that. The actual Greyhound ticket cost me $165 because I bought a long roundabout ticket that went down to Iowa and back to Rockford, Illinois, and all this other crap. But basically, I just wanted to get off in Madison, and it cost me $165 altogether for that whole deal. But going to Chicago or anywhere further east, like Gary, Indiana, or South Bend, or Elkhart, or Goshen, all would have been $200 and something. So I saved myself about $50 worth. Then the Coach USA bus from Madison to Janesville was $8. So then I saved myself $40 worth instead of $50. And then I took a cab for another $10. Now I'm going to be taking another Greyhound for another $25. So by the end of this whole deal, the transportation to and from this truck was paid for, and what would have been the bus ticket from Miles City to Elkhart, Indiana to get something else. So this truck kind of paid for itself, because at the end of the deal, I might still have $100 for taking it. You know, profit for actually driving it. Maybe, depending on what they take out on escrow. But I thought I would leave you a video, since I haven't done one in a long time. I did a step van the other day, but I didn't put it on video because it's the same exact step van as I've already had on content for my video, except for it was just going to a different place. Other than that, it didn't have anything special or anything different in it whatsoever than what I've driven before and showed you on video, so I didn't do a video of it. But since this is different, here you go. Like and subscribe, leave comments, check out my merchandise in the description below, and we'll see you on the flip. Peace.